This is your 420 Radio News for Thursday, January 23rd, 2014, brought to you by the National Cannabis Coalition. I'm Russ Belville. Texas Governor Rick Perry, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, said he is in favor of decriminalization of marijuana use. Perry made his remarks at an international panel on drug legalization that included former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and Colombian President Juan Manuel. Perry explained, quote, "As governor, I have begun to implement policies that start us toward a decriminalization," end quote, describing a system of drug courts, fines, and rehab programs. In the past, Perry has simultaneously opposed the legalization of marijuana while defending the right of states to make that determination under the 10th Amendment. Lucy Nashid, a spokesperson for the governor, said, quote, "The goal is to keep people out of jails and reduce recidivism," end quote. According to the executive director of the Texas Criminal Justice Coalition, more than 15,000 people are imprisoned in Texas solely for drug possession. A Philadelphia city councilman is proposing to decriminalize possession of 30 grams or less of marijuana. Councilman Jim Kenney notes that in 2010, after the glaring racism in city marijuana arrests was exposed by Philly Normal, the district attorney changed policy to divert anyone arrested for less than an ounce of marijuana to a lower court where they could pay a fine rather than face jail time. Kenney proposes that the city do away with the arrest entirely and replace it with a $200 fine and 3 hours at a drug abuse seminar. Quote, "The DA is diverting them anyway, so why are we locking them up?" Kenney asked. "If we're not going to prosecute and these folks are going to go to a diversionary program anyway, why are we wasting our time arresting them?" End quote. Kenney called arrests, quote, "very traumatic," end quote, and under his proposal, those who pay the fine and complete the program would have the incident erased from his or her record. Representative Sherry Jones of Tennessee has filed a medical marijuana bill in the state legislature. Known as the Kooser-Kuhn Medical Cannabis Act, it would allow the use of cannabis as medicine for the treatment of the so-called Big 8 conditions most medical marijuana states allow: cancer, AIDS, glaucoma, cachexia, spasms, seizures, pain, and nausea, as well as recognizing use for hepatitis C, post-traumatic stress, and hospice patients. The bill allows patients to possess a 1-month supply of cannabis, but the summary does not make it clear how much cannabis that is, or whether it includes patients growing their own plants. The bill does establish a dispensary system and protects the rights of patients to housing, employment, education, and organ transplants, but would not recognize out-of-state medical marijuana cards. The bill sits in the Tennessee House Government Operations Subcommittee, where no votes or hearings have been held on it yet. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell alluded to the possibility of the league allowing medical marijuana use. Speaking at the Head Health Challenge sponsored by General Electric, Goodell conceded there may be a future where professional football players are allowed to treat concussions and pain with cannabis. Quote, "We will follow medicine, and if they determine that this could be a proper usage in any context, we will consider that," Goodell said. "Our medical experts are not saying that right now," end quote. 11 NFL teams play in states where medical use is legal, and 2, the Super Bowl-bound Seattle Seahawks and Denver Broncos, play where recreational use is legal. Goodell's comments follow a well-publicized report on HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, where former NFL players allege that over half the NFL uses marijuana for pain relief. The report also exposed work in Israel on brain-damaged mice, showing marijuana can alleviate half of the brain damage suffered in a concussion. Oregon marijuana experts are concerned that the latest cannabis testing rules for dispensaries are too stringent. Oregon legalized dispensaries last year, and they are set to open their doors in March. The law makes no requirement to test for THC and CBD levels, but the new rules will. In addition, the rules require testing for mold, mildew, and pesticides. While advocates support testing for these contaminants, their complaint is that the state has decided to set their baselines at levels far below what is possible to achieve with an herbal product. Researcher Todd Delato explains that lawmakers chose to reference the U.S. Pharmacopoeia, which sets standards for highly refined, purified, and synthetic pharmaceutical drugs, instead of the American Herbal Pharmacopoeia being used in Washington state as the basis for testing its marijuana. Some current operators complain that the high cost of such stringent testing is pushing the small craft growers out of the business. This has been your 420 Radio News for Thursday, January 23rd, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. You can get transcripts of the 420 Radio News daily at the National Cannabis Coalition. Visit ncc420.com for more information. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines to take a look at the latest poll from CBS News showing yet another majority in support of marijuana legalization. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.